What's up, Wise Flyers? David here. The credit card companies are constantly trying to screw you over and take as much money from you as possible. They have tricks and set up a bunch of traps, which is one of the reasons this country is ridden with credit card debt. So in this video, I'm going to point out the 4 traps that credit card companies think that you don't know any better of. I'm going to teach you how to rise above these tricks and traps. So whether you're getting your first credit card or even have a few credit cards, make sure you pay attention to these 4 ways that credit card companies are screwing you over, just so you don't get screwed. First trap is the 0% intro APR. So there's a few different cards that offer 0% APR, which means you're not going to pay any interest on any balance that you have month after month for maybe 6 months, 18 months. It really depends on the terms of each card. A lot of store cards offer this, major banks offer this. So basically they'll say, hey, get this credit card, buy that TV you always wanted, buy that vacation you always wanted, and you don't have to pay any interest on it for X amount of months. What they want is for you to get really comfortable, not pay that interest month after month. You're putting more and more purchases on this card because there's no consequences whatsoever. You're just swiping plastic, buying whatever you want for whoever you want. Then when that 0% intro period is done, you could be hit with a 24% interest on whatever balance you have in your account. And that is exactly what the credit card companies are hoping for. That at the end of the 0% intro offer or period, that you're gonna have a high balance and then you're not gonna be able to pay it off right away. Then you're just gonna pay the minimum amount. You're not even gonna touch the principal, and then you're gonna just be paying the interest month after month. And then months could turn into years, years turn into decades of credit card debt. So if you ever offer that 0%, please do not put a lot of spend on this card thinking you're gonna pay it off later on. Most of the time, people don't pay it off. Credit cards are best used as an extension of your bank account, not a way to access money that you don't have, hoping that you're gonna pay it off one day. And the next way they screw you over is charge your credit card account fees even after the account was closed. This actually happened to me personally a couple of times. So if you ever decide to close a credit card, you may have some pending transactions. Sometimes it could take 2, 3, 5 business days for that transaction to post to your account. And if you make that transaction, let's say you forget about it, it doesn't show in your account, you think the balance is completely paid off down to 0, you close the account, then after you close the account, the transaction posts to your account. Now, by this point, you think that the credit card is closed, you cut it up, you don't even go into the online login anymore, you disregard all the mail because to your knowledge, it's completely paid off. But what happens is if you don't pay the bill right away because you didn't realize that this transaction was gonna go through, then month after month, you're gonna get hit with late fees, then you're gonna have to pay interest on the money that isn't paid month after month, you're gonna have a big balance. Another way you could get screwed is if you have any automatic charges to the card. So when you close your credit card, let's just say there are no pending transactions, 0 transactions at all, everything is good. Some credit cards could allow an automatic charge to hit the account even up to 90 days from the credit card being closed. So what happened to me personally is I had a website with GoDaddy that renewed every year, so it was every 12 months. I closed the card, I think it was something like $20, $30, which was just for a domain name, but I didn't realize that it was on an annual automatic charge. So after 2 months of closing this card, I had a charge that happened annually, which I didn't even realize happened, to this account. And then months went by actually until I got a call from the bank saying that I had a balance on my card, that I had late fees, I had interest I had to pay, and they were trying to collect their money. I told them that I closed the account, I didn't have any balance when I closed the account, I made sure of it, and I didn't have any automatic charges. I had no idea about this at all. Fortunately, the time that I had this credit card open, I was a good customer, I paid everything in full, never had any late payments, and they actually worked with me to erase the late fees, the interest that was charged, and I just had to pay the principal on this card because I saw that it was kind of an anomaly according to my credit behavior with this one bank. Assuming you've been a good customer with any of the banks and you have any late fees because life happens, I recommend trying to see if you could get the fee waived. You would just say, hey, I've been a customer for X amount of years. I pay my bill always on time, never had any issues. Can you please waive this fee or this late fee or whatever? And most of the time, they're actually pretty good about waiving the fees, as long as it's not a regular thing every month. The next trap that credit card companies have is they'll send you checks in the mail hoping that you'll pay your bills or buy stuff with this check. Please, whatever you do, don't ever use those checks that they send you in the mail. It's a trap. You're not gonna get charged the regular percentage APR that they offer you in the terms. It's considered a cash advance, which is a lot higher, and sometimes they even charge you just for making a transaction with one of these checks. Then you're gonna have to pay a higher interest rate. It seems like for me, every single month, they're constantly sending me these checks, hoping that I use it and have to pay the cash advance rate, then the interest rate, but I have never used those checks, and I highly recommend you don't use them either. And the next sneaky thing that credit card companies do is that they'll close your account even without notifying you first. And if they close your account without your consent or without your knowledge, then this could really screw up your credit score because it can mess up your credit utilization, mess up your credit history. The way this works is banks are allowed to extend a certain amount of credit to consumers. And if the consumer is not using the credit that is offered by the bank, then the bank will either decrease that credit limit or just completely close the account. The reason they do this is because if one consumer isn't going to use the credit that's extended or offered to them, then they're just going to give that credit to another consumer to hopefully collect interest and for someone else to make transactions on. And usually the reason why they close the account without you even knowing is because of inactivity. So if you have a card that you've had for years and you haven't used it because you're using other cards, or you're just not into credit cards at all and you just don't want to use them, what they're going to do is they're going to look through their accounts and see who's using the cards, who's not, how can they take credit from one consumer and give it to another user and make more money off of that new consumer. And if you haven't used your card in a while, they're probably just gonna close your account and give that credit line to someone else. The way to avoid this is make sure that you put at least one tiny transaction on your credit card every 6 to 12 months. This will show the bank that you're actually using the credit card, you are using the credit limit that's extended to you, and it won't give them a reason to close your account without you even knowing. Now, the big solution to all of this credit card craziness is to treat your credit card like a debit card. As I mentioned before, if you just look at a credit card as an extension of your bank account, not a way to get in debt and use money you don't have, you'll come out ahead and you'll beat the credit card companies. But don't worry, the credit card companies are still gonna make money off of you every time you use your credit card. They're gonna earn 2 to 3% for every single transaction that you make with credit cards. If you think about the millions of credit card holders in the US, they're making a lot of money. One of the ways to turn your credit card into a debit card is to get automatic payments set up on your credit card account. Most credit card online accounts, if you just go to the search and type in automatic payment, you can set it up really easily. So the same way that you're paying your credit card bill, with your online bank account, you just set up automatic payment, and make sure you do the full statement balance, not just the minimum due, which could be as little as $35, and you're not really touching the principal. You want to pay it off in full every single month. And by paying your credit card bill in full every single month, you're not playing with fire, you're not going to wind up in debt. You're pretty much using your credit card as a debit card, because any money that you spend on the credit card, if you don't have it in the bank, then it's like using a debit card that has no money attached to it. And if you have multiple credit cards and they're all set up on automatic payments, you wonder, what about fraud? Well, if you use mint.com, it's a great tool to keep track of all of your credit cards. You can see it in one place rather than having to log into different accounts. You set it up on mint.com. It's completely free, and you can see all of your transactions for each of the credit cards. You get mint.com or the Mint app on your phone. You could check to see all your transactions of your credit cards to make sure that there's no unauthorized payments, especially if you're having it on auto pay every single month and you may forget to look at your account. It's right there on your phone, right at your fingertips, so you can make sure that everything is going smoothly. If we look at my Credit Karma account again, I only have credit cards for debt. 0 collections, no student loans, no auto loans, no home loans.
I'm a big proponent of zero debt. So I am actually a big fan of Dave Ramsey in that you should always pay everything in full, no debt at all. I guess the one little difference is that I love credit cards, or at least the benefits that they give me.
And if you're curious what my credit score looks like after 50 credit cards but zero debt, you could click this link over here. I show my exact credit score, or you could click this playlist down here to help build your credit, and I'll see you in the next video.